Hello, everybody. I am Dan, and I'm here with Jordan, and we're here to talk about eShop games in 2019. Jordan, how are you doing?
I'm good, Don. How about you?
I am very great, thank you very much.
Good.
We are here to talk about our most anticipated games that are coming out on the eShop during this current calendar year. Of course, the first month is already almost behind us, and there were some really interesting games during the course of these last couple of weeks. But 11 months are still ahead. We listed a bunch of games that we are very interested in. And I think to just jump in, Jordan, what is your first game?
Sure. Let's go ahead here. So the first game I want to talk about, a game I played at PAX West in 2018, is Killer Queen Black. This is a port of an arcade game. It's a multiplayer competitive game. You play teams of 4 versus 4, and the matches go pretty fast. You have 3 different objectives that you can capture, you can accomplish to win each game. So one is there's a snail at the bottom of the screen, and you're these kind of little bug-looking creatures. I mean, it's humanoid, but you have wings. You can fly around a little bit. So everyone has a different role. So there's drone characters, and these can capture the slug at the bottom of the screen and pull the slug to your side. If they get to your flag, then you win that match. So that's one of the objectives you can accomplish. The second one is you can take those drone characters and you can pick up these purple berries and bring them back to your base. So there's about 20 or so slots you have to fill in your base, and if you bring all the berries back and fill up your spaces first, then you win that round. The third thing you can do is one of your characters, or one of the players, is this. Sorry, that's the one with wings, is the queen. So the queen has a sword and she can dash around. And the queen can kill. She can kill anything. She can kill the drones, or she can kill the other team's queen. And if she kills the other queen, I think it's 3 times. Before she is killed 3 times, then your side will win that match. So that's the third objective. So you can collect the berries, you can bring the slug to your side, or your queen can kill the enemy queen 3 times. So it's pretty straightforward, really easy to get into. But the matches they're really fast, they're frantic. There's a lot of tension in them. And yeah, I played with a couple of buddies I went to PAX with last year, and we had a ball playing this game. We got some direct feed footage for NWR. That's on the YouTube. You can catch that. But yeah, it's a really fun game. Don, I'm not sure if you've tried this one yet.
I have. I was at E3, and it was there at post E3, and also during Gamescom. So I had multiple chances to play that game, and that game looks, from a multiplayer perspective, looks pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I see. One thing I don't know about. I don't know if there's going to be a single player or how it will work, how the online will work. I believe there is online multiplayer, but I mean, this is a game designed for 4 people on a couch to be playing against a team of another 4 people on a couch somewhere else. I mean, it's designed for that local multiplayer aspect where everyone's kind of hooting and hollering and celebrating. And yeah, I cannot wait for this game to come out. I think it's going to be one of those. It might be one of my most, and I think it's definitely one of my most anticipated games, but it might be the game I spend the most time playing with multiplayer in 2019. I can already kind of feel that just from looking at it and having tested it out a bit.
Cool. Before we go to my game, obviously I need to tell you everybody the password for this current hour, which is Glorious Hero. I wonder where that comes from. Anyway, Glorious Hero. Type it into NWR.com. Be sure to enter the giveaway and earn yourself a little prize there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's not that many entries right now, so it's a really good time to jump in there. Put the password in on the NWR site. You can find it in the charity stream page. There's a link there. So
cool. My first game is Nightcall, which is another game I played during Gamescom 2018. This was in the original Nindy Highlights presentation. Obviously, we got one earlier this week. The first one was just before Gamescom, a day before Gamescom. This is a game that I got to play for about an hour. And what I have to say is it is really dialogue and narrative driven, but the most interesting thing about it is that how much you need to pay attention to that dialogue. You get little clues, and then you basically start a conversation as a cab driver with the person behind the back. And that conversation can go a bunch of places. I played for the demo twice. In one instance, I was super calm, just chilling with the guy and say so how's life and everything. And the other one, I got more annoyed with him, and it got two completely different outcomes. Um, in the first one, he gave me information to a murder case I sort of needed. In the second one, he just walked out halfway. I was like, "Here's your money. I'm just gonna go."
Now, Don, this isn't a game I've played. I've heard of it, and I've seen the trailer for it as well. Um, I'm trying to figure out what's the overall objective of this game. Like, what's your end goal? You're listening to these conversations with the taxi driver, but how are you progressing in the game? Like, what is your intention with that? Yeah.
So the first half is doing the cab driver stuff, and you're doing like 4 or 5 ones in a singular night. And you talk with them. You try to find information about a murder case.
Okay.
They're kind of being a little bit cautious right now with the story, and I totally get that because this is still ways off, and they still want to keep some stuff in the dark.
Okay, sure.
But the other half is more figuring out the pieces that you learned that day. You have a desk where you can pin the piece to a gigantic board with photos attached and everything, and that will get you closer to where you need to go in the game.
Yeah, I'd really like to try this game. I imagine it's coming this year. Hopefully, we'll see more of it soon. I mean, there's a lot of games on our list that we've only seen, announcement trailers for. I think we're due for some more updates. So this sounds like a cool one. I like it's got that gritty, noir aesthetic to it. When I saw the trailer again, it reminded me a lot of a game we talked about on our one of our podcast segments a couple weeks ago, and that was a Case of Distrust, I believe.
Yes.
It really reminded me of that game, just that dark noir kind of crime drama-esque appearance to it.
The difference with Case of Distrust, and you should definitely check out that game. That game is fantastic. But the difference between a Case of Distrust and Nightcall is that in a Case of Distrust, you go one path, and you still have to figure out clues, which is a more important factor of that game, but you still need to figure out one singular path towards the end. And I don't really think that's what Nightcall is exactly going for, at least what I played of it.
So maybe a little bit more open-ended with Nightcall, or exploratory or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
so what is your next game?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about another one that I did play at PAX. I'm really excited about this one. This is Gato Roboto. And
I don't know anything about this one.
Yeah,
so
it's got a really funny title. I was able to sit down and played for about 15 or 20 minutes the demo of it. Got through the demo at PAX. So it's black and white, and it's Metroid, and you're a cat in a robot suit. And if that doesn't sell you on the game, I don't know what will. It's a lot of fun. What's really neat about Gato Roboto is that it nails the isolation, the kind of foreboding, the kind of dark atmosphere of a Metroid game, but it also has these comedic, humorous elements. I mean, you're a cat, right? Like you're a cat in a spacesuit, so it's hilarious to look at. But then there's funny dialogue and situations that come up. I think you can see on the stream that you can also run around outside of the suit. So there's opportunities, puzzle opportunities, where you are not in a suit with all your abilities, and you have to, maybe it's a little bit more stealthy, or you have to crawl around as the cat. The cat lets you get into tighter spaces, kind of like the morph ball would in Metroid.
Right.
You collect different power-ups. But yeah, I think the black and white really works for this game. It's got a kind of 2D pixelated look to it. There's boss fights as well. Yeah, it just seems like a really it's a Devolver Digital title, and I think that's a pretty obvious thing to say. Like it's so Devolver, just kind of painting outside the lines and not following established formulas. It's a Metroidvania, but it'll probably be it's a Metroid game, but it'll be different in a lot of ways. I think the humor and the writing and the story are going to be really different, and it's another game I'm super excited for. Hopefully you'll get a chance to try it soon. I speaking to the devs at PAX, it sounded like it's pretty far along. It should be coming soon. I'm guessing first half of 2019, but nothing's set in stone. So hopefully we'll hear more about that one soon.
All right. So the next game we sort of decided on this one together was Minoko's Night Market.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of wanted both this one in our priority list.
Yes.
And it's not hard to see why. Like that style of the game is just gorgeous, but it seems very life sim-esque, like very very much exploration and story, and very much elements of Stardew Valley sprinkled in between.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the Stardew Valley, and I can't help but think about Animal Crossing too. It's a life simulator, right? You're walking around, you're doing day-to-day tasks. It's Mineko's Night Market. There's this element of collecting things that you're going to sell, or putting things in a museum maybe. But the big thing here is it's not Animal Crossing, it's Cat Crossing. It's funny, we go from Gato Roboto to Mineko's Night Market. There's a good transition there. There's tons of cats in this game. There's cats all over the place. I really love the look of it. It's got this neat cartoon. I don't even know how you would describe it. It's really unique. Reminds me a little bit of Night in the Woods, actually, the look of it.
Yeah, it very much reminds me of Night in the Woods. Well, it's a bit more stylized. And not to say that Night in the Woods looks ugly, because it definitely isn't. It has a very unique style to it. But it's Minoko's Night Market has more shading attached to the characters, and I think that has more grit to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's not a game I've gotten hands on with. Don, I'm not sure if you've played it yet.
Sadly not. Not. No.
Yeah, I'd really like to get my hands on this. It just looks really cool. Like, I think we're all really looking forward to Animal Crossing this year. So it'd be really nice to maybe get our hands on Mineko's Night Market a little bit before that to kind of continue to whet our appetites for that type of game.
Right.
And I like that seems to have more story too, right? It seems like there's going to be more of a story, something you're unraveling. Animal Crossing doesn't really have that. It's more like you play a little bit every day, but Mineko seems like a game you could really spend hours with.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the side here to the trailer, and it's still the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
It is, yeah.
So another game I have not really heard much about, and you put it on the list, so I'm very interested in hearing about it, is Moving Out.
Yeah, now this is a game I'm going to be speculating on a lot because I haven't played it. I think it just got announced at the Kind of Funny video game showcase that they did in December.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've only heard about it for about a month or so. And it's by the developers SMG Studio. So they made Death Squared, among other games. But Death Squared is one that really stuck with me. A couple of years ago, when it first came to Switch, I was at PAX. I was staying at a friend's place, and that was one of the games I had downloaded ahead of time. Like, oh, this will be a great game. When we get home from PAX and we're just chilling out after dinner or something, Death Squared seems like a really fun title. And man, it was. It's kind of a puzzle cooperative game where you're trying to move cubes into different spaces on a 3D board, and yeah, so Death Squared really good. So that kind of
shout out to Death Squared. It just got a final update.
They've been really great about adding content to that game. So if you haven't touched it in a while, or you feel like you went through most of the stages, they've been adding consistently to that game. So definitely go back and take a look at Death Squared. But anyways, SMG is really active on Twitter, so I follow them on Twitter. They're always posting and making jokes and stuff, and it's just. I have a lot of faith in them based on what they've done and kind of who they seem to be on social media. So Moving Out, after I saw it, I thought, okay, this is going to be a fun one. It reminds me, I think maybe intentionally so, it looks a lot like Overcooked. And if Overcooked was a kitchen simulator where you're practicing chefs and trying not to let the whole thing burn down, Moving Out is some kind of moving company simulator, and that might not sound fun, but it looks hilarious. It's got this cartoon aesthetic. I think one of the main characters in the trailer looks like Toon Link, and you'll see this in the stream. It also reminds me a little bit of Human Fall Flat, in that you're kind of walking around and that you have this funny gait or this funny walking style to it. You're throwing people's packages and other items. You're picking up couches, moving them across the street like you're playing Frogger or something like that. It looks like another great cooperative couch co-op game. So yeah, really looking forward to this.
Do I really just see in the trailer that you're moving across a moving airplane?
Yeah, it looks like it. There's Indiana Jones bowler chasing the character here. Yeah, you're moving packages, and all shapes of packages. Just pulled a giraffe across a building. But yeah, I don't know. We don't know a lot about this game. Neither of us have gone hands on with it. We've just seen a little bit. But I'm excited to know more about this game, and I really like this studio. So another reason why I have faith in the game.
Fantastic. So the last one on our priority list, I didn't make this decision entirely. You were like, yeah, I want to hear about this game. So
I pushed for this one. This.
So you want to hear what I had to say about SteamWorld Quest.
I do. Yeah. It's a game that I know we were all waiting for the next game in the SteamWorld series, and I know you've gone hands-on with it, so you've got the most to say about this game. So take it away, Daan.
Yeah. So I spent 3.5 hours in an office in Sweden. They flew me out. I will say that up front. To see. Well, yeah, to see SteamWorld Quest for a considerable amount of time, and yeah. It is a card-based side-scrolling RPG. And side-scrolling, I mean, it's not an open area. You're just not moving over a 2D plane. You have little squared environments where you do a little bit of exploration. You pick up a few items or a few cards, and then go over to the next one. You fight enemies. You can slash them from the back, and then you go into a battle. The battles, once again, are completely based around the card system, and most of the cards require a certain amount of gears to be activated. Every time you activate a card, so if you just use a bunch of base cards, you earn a gear. So it's always good to start with a card that doesn't take up anything, and then add to that and another one and another one. If you can have a combo of like 3 cards, so maybe 2 without a gear and then 1 with very powerful, it will add a 4th one at the end if it's all within a same family.
Okay.
In addition, the deck building process is really interesting because every character in your party can only hold a certain amount of cards. So you have to make choices based on how the characters you want them to play. Do you want to play them more defensively? Do you want to go full offense? The options are sort of endless in that sense. So in the beginning, you only have like the option of a few cards here and there, and then you switch them out and make the deck that you really want to build.
Right.
In the end, what I took away from it for the most part is a very clear sense of ideas. I got to speak to the 2 people who are in charge there at Image Inform. Brian is the head of Image Inform, but he's definitely not the person who's currently developing it. Okay. He's overseeing it, everything. So there are 2 people in charge, and they are very much into the idea of LARPs. They love LARPs to bits and RPGs and tabletop. So all of that came together in a singular idea. And you definitely see that also in the story where the main character wants to be a hero. She wants to be a hero, but she is definitely not a hero. She pretends to be. She talks in quotes. She thinks that she's the best in the world and tries to take on all challengers. The reality is she is not very good in the beginning at what she does.
Right.
And she just acts without really thinking about it. So what you come across really is a character who basically LARPs in a fantasy setting.
What speaking of the fantasy setting, when I first saw this game, when we were going to plan to talk about it, I was thinking of SteamWorld Heist and how SteamWorld Heist was very much it's a tactical RPG, but it's got a sci-fi theme to it, right?
Yeah,
And this is taking that SteamWorld aesthetic, like the gears and the robots and everything, but putting it in a fantasy setting. And obviously, that's perfect for a role-playing game like this, right? So, really excited to see what they do with that aesthetic. Some of these creatures look really cool, like the dragons and the golems and stuff like that. So
right.
yeah, excited to see more.
Yeah, and the fun part about having these small environments is that you do very little exploring. It's mostly combat, so you constantly
Okay.
are deck building, constantly card collecting.
Hmm.
Um, there are definitely the biggest thing that you do besides like doing the card stuff is doing talking to people and finding
Okay.
out where you go next.
Right.
Uh,
Now, are there side quests and stuff like that too for experience or
yeah,
for
there's
items or
definitely you
cards?
definitely earn experience when you do battle, and there
Yeah.
are separate paths that you can go to if you necessarily want to. You don't
Okay.
have to take those paths. You can just
Right.
take one clear line to the finish.
Right. Oh, that's
Um,
good.
but there are optional harder enemies and stuff to do if you really care for it.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, no, it sounds really good. I've always kind of admired the series. I haven't really gotten into it yet, but I think this is probably going to be my first one. I've been looking for a role-playing game like this. Like this is, I know they put out a Twitter poll of maybe a year ago or something asking, what genre or what type of game do you guys want us to make yet? And I think RPG was the overwhelming favorite, and so this looks like the fruit of that kind of process. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see more soon.
Yeah, I cannot exactly tell you more about the story, mostly because I
Yeah.
don't want to, but secondly, because I'm told not to.
Okay. Okay.
Because there's a lot more
I'll
to
put it
that
under
story that
wraps.
I'm currently saying and where
Yeah.
it really stands on the universe. The only thing I will say, don't see it as a main game in the main line of
Yeah.
the story that SteamWorld Tower Defense, Dig 2, and Heist have made. Um, because it's from that sort of view, it's completely a side story.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, what is the next? We have basically talked through our priority games way too fast.
Yeah. No,
That's
it's good.
went
It's good.
way too fast. Um,
So we've got a secondary list here. So those are the games we had to kind of get out of the way. We wanted to make sure we talked about those. But we've still got a bunch more for 2019 that we want to look at.
yeah,
Don, you want me to go first here again?
yeah. Please go ahead.
Sure, sounds good. So the next one I'll talk about, I've already talked about Killer Queen Black and Moving Out, which seem to be really good multiplayer games. And that that's been such an important theme on the Switch is these local multiplayer experiences that are just perfect for that console. If you don't own a game, someone brings their Switch over, they put it in your dock, and you're good to go. Another one, kind of in that vein, is Samurai Gun 2. This is a game I played at PAX as well. A lot of these experiences are games I want to talk about from PAX, but didn't necessarily get a chance to write about. So Samurai Gun 2, it's a single screen competitive multiplayer game. You want to think a game like Towerfall, where you've got up to 4 players kind of battling it out in deathmatch style, or maybe first to 10 kills or something like that. But instead of archers, you are samurai. You're samurai who have swords, so you have a melee attack,
Hmm.
but you also have a gun somehow. So the samurai and gun in the title is certainly apt. Yeah, so you have a sword, you have a gun, you are kind of dashing across the screen, jumping off of walls, and you're just trying to kill everyone else in the room. It's got a really simple, again, kind of pixel graphic style to it. It's frantic, it's bloody, and man, it's a lot of fun. The matches go by really fast. It takes a little bit of getting used to. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's like some kind of block button, or there's some way to deflect attacks too. So there's
Yeah,
almost a rock paper scissors element to it. So every encounter, are you going to use the gun or the sword, or are you going to try to block something or defend yourself? Um, yeah, Samurai Gun 2 is a lot of fun. Played it for about maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. I hadn't played the first one, so I went into the experience fresh. I hadn't really played Towerfall before I played Samurai Gun 2.
yeah.
But after playing Towerfall, I realized, oh yeah, these games are really similar. So if you like Towerfall, you're gonna like Samurai Gun 2. It's a little bit more bloody. It does have some kind of single player type of adventure mode, which I think you can also play co-op, which is cool. So yeah, that's a game people should have on their radar if they're looking for another competitive multiplayer one.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn, have you played Samurai Gun 2 or seen anything of it?
No, sadly not. I'm looking at the trailer. It looks really nice for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's another fun one. Again, perfect fit on Switch. Yeah, hopefully everyone can keep this on their radar. We shouldn't have to wait too long for this. I think, it was pretty close to being done. If I remember something from my meeting with the team who's working on this, there's also going to be a graphic novel or a comic of some sort attached to the game. So I think if you get the physical version of the game, there might be a graphic novel attached to that. Don't quote me on this; I might be misremembering the details. But there's some kind of comic book or a storybook tie-in that is either going to be available online or maybe online, and also physical. So that's something that seemed like a neat kind of pack-in or a neat side product as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Before we continue, we have two parts of business. The first of all, we are currently at $4,135. If you really want me to play Mario Party 5, if you really, really, really want to,
you really do. You really do.
then go reach $5,000. Secondly, once again, the giveaway code for this hour is Glorious Hero. That is Glorious Hero. Fill that in on the website and you can earn yourself a prize. So continuing on from that, let's talk about Baba Is You. So Baba Is You is another one of those games that I played at Gamescom 2018. This was one of the games in the Indie Highlights presentation, the original one. Baba Is You, I do see you in the chat, Matt. Please make Daan may play Mario Party 5.
Oh, no.
Oh, really? Anyway, Baba Is You. Baba Is You. So these are all one-screen puzzles, but built around text. So you have Baba, which is then the character. And it could be something else. It could be wall. It could be another object in the level. Is, and then you or something else in the level, or once again a different adjective. So for example, Baba is wall. So Baba changes completely into the wall and can move to the goal that way. Or winner is you. You basically instantly become the winner flag. So to make that very tricky and interesting, sometimes they put stuff in the corner so that it can't be moved. For example, there will be restrictions or rules dedicated to some of the puzzles. But in other instances, you are free to mix and match and see how it progresses. For example, touch is death. You can basically move is death, so then you can move the skulls out of the way and then get to the goal. So there are various types of puzzles and ideas they work into it, but it's always built around those three words. You can make combinations with that. You can make strings with that. So multiple things have multiple effects, and it becomes really insane as you go further across the game.
Yeah, I love the way that it's kind of using words as part of the, very short, simple words, but using them as part of the puzzle mechanic. I looked at this game this morning again, and I can't think of another game that's like this. I tried to compare it to something, and the only thing I came up with is kind of like WarioWare, maybe, in that it's just wacky little games or little screens that you're trying to get through. And that puzzle element, or that trying to figure out how you even play the game, kind of like WarioWare, what exactly it's supposed to do, they don't always tell you. That's what it reminded me of a little bit. But this is clearly its own thing as well. We're looking at a screen where you're a star shooting bubbles, almost like Space Invaders or Arkanoid or something like that. It's just such a weird, bizarre little game. But I'm glad you got a chance to play it, Dawn, because this is one I keep seeing that title, Baba Is You, and thinking, what the heck is this game? Like I can never remember, but it looks like a unique one for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those games that I had a really good time playing. I talked to the developer, and he was very kind. He was the only one making it, so it's very much a passion project because he loved the idea of words and loved the idea of Scrabble. So he very little intricate ideas out of that, and then
Sure.
started to make a game out of it. So it really came from a singular idea, and then he built completely the game around it. So I thought that
Hmm.
was really, really cool. He also
Yeah.
just gave me a gigantic sticker board with all the various items in the game. I have it somewhere, but
Mhm.
it is really, really, really cute. I put a
That
bunch on
sounds
my
awesome.
laptop so I can
Nice.
organize them a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's another game that we're seeing this very simplistic, basic art style or basic graphical style, and we can appreciate that in 2019. We're moving towards the PS5 and the next Xbox coming out, but Switch is, for a number of years to come. Still, I think Switch is going to be getting these smaller, more bite-sized, maybe not all that impressive in terms of the way they look, but they're just such unique and fresh experiences. And I'm so excited to see more of these. And, one of the reasons why we're doing this stream on this topic and, our podcast of the same theme is that we want to call attention to games like Baba Is You, where people might see that title or take one look at it and be turned off by it or not really understand what it is and just move on. There's so many games coming out. It's really easy to just go with your first impression. But this is clearly a game that is much more than its first impression. It's going to be wacky and fun, and yeah, hopefully we'll hear more about that one soon as well.
Hmm. So what is your next game on the list?
So I'll move from something abstract, Baba Is You, to something that people are really familiar with, and that's Shovel Knight King of Cards. The King of Cards is the final DLC campaign for Shovel Knight, the fourth
Huh.
one. We had Shovel Knight, the base game, which came out, I can't even believe this, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel that long ago, but
it
yeah, we've
really
gotten so much.
doesn't. It feels like
2014, yeah.
it has been shorter.
No, for sure. I thought, maybe 2016 or something like that, but nope.
Huh.
June 2014 was the base Shovel Knight game, and it was part of a Kickstarter. And as part of the Kickstarter, the stretch goals were reached to get all these extra campaigns. And kudos to the developers for following through and making sure that those happened, even if we had to wait for them. But yeah, 5 years, 5 years since, we're now going to get the final Knight campaign, the King Knight campaign.
Hmm.
It's going to have new levels, going to have new music, and I think that's been one of the best parts of the campaigns is that they take the same or similar stages from the base game, but they change them in new ways so they feel completely different. The music is always different and really good. Spectre Knight and Plague Knight, those stages have some really cool remixes of the Shovel Knight themes. Yeah, so each campaign has made really meaningful changes to the experience. I feel like you are playing a new game. The different knights play really differently. Plague Knight and Spectre Knight, they were more about kind of maybe juggling and more aerial movements. What's cool about King Knight is it seems like he plays like Wario does in the Wario Land games. He's got a dash attack. He can also fly up in the air and dash in midair too. But he seems like kind of a beefier, stronger. Kind of comparing Mario to Wario. We see that change too. So yeah, I'm excited. I haven't tried the demo. I've seen a bunch of this game. I'm kind of in that stage where I just want to play it. We've been waiting. We wait
Do
so
we
long
know
for
when
these
it's
campaigns.
coming?
I think it's April 9th. I'd have to check our documents, but I believe it's April. I'm pretty sure,
Hmm.
and I think it's earlier in the month. So it's only a couple months away. Hopefully hopefully that doesn't get pushed back or anything. The game looks pretty close to being done. So yeah, Shovel Knight King of Cards is an eShop game I'm really looking forward to. And the awesome thing is, if you bought the Treasure Trove pack of Shovel Knight, you get this game for free. Like we're not even paying for this game. You're just going to be it's going to be a free download for you. So if you haven't bought the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove pack on the eShop, I don't know what's wrong with you. Just go out and buy that right now. Those
To be
games
fair,
they're awesome.
it would be good to purchase right now because they
Yeah.
have said that the price will go up once a new campaign is being added.
Yeah, that's a good point, Don. I forgot about that. Yeah, once the King Knight campaign comes out, that's 4 campaigns, so they're going to raise the price a little bit. Go and buy it right now. Maybe it'll go on sale just before King Knight comes out. I don't know, but it's worth any dollar amount they put on it. Frankly, those games they're awesome. Great throwback to Castlevania, DuckTales, Mega Man, the Adventure of Link. All those great NES games.
So what is your favorite? This might be such a side tangent to do right now,
no,
but we have the time. So what is your favorite Shovel Knight campaign so far?
Yeah, so it's tough. I think the music in Plague Knight's campaign might be my favorite music, but playing the game, I gotta go with Shovel Knight. I feel like Plague Knight and Spectre Knight were fun, and I really enjoyed the story of Plague Knight. I think I'd put that higher. But in terms of pure gameplay, I just enjoyed Shovel Knight the most. I love the pogo jumping off. I liked his abilities. I found that Plague Knight. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about the other ones. They're all really good, but I think I just had the most fun with Shovel Knight. It felt the most like an RPG where you're kind of moving around the world map as well, as opposed to just going to different stages. It felt a little bit more fleshed out. Of course, it was. I mean, it was the base campaign. So yeah, I think Shovel Knight would be that would be my favorite overall. What about you, Don?
Pretty much Plague Knight. Plague Knight is my favorite. I had just a blast with how that character controls.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think that Shovel Knight is fantastic to control overall, but the unique move of Plague Knight just really sells it home for me.
Yeah. The story of the Plague Knight campaign just I was really captured by it. The relationship between Plague Knight and his assistant. I don't remember her name, but I thought it was really cute.
Yeah. I don't remember her name either, so that will be something for another time, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd like to go play the 3 campaigns, at least go and check them out. Maybe not play them through before King Knight comes out, just to kind of remember that experience. And I haven't played them all through in a while. I probably haven't touched the game since the Spectre Knight campaign came out. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to that.
It has been a while. Yeah, it has been surely a while. Then for me, the next thing on the list, you know what? Let's jump the shark a little bit.
Sure,
I want to talk about the Untitled Goose Game.
Okay, yeah, I was waiting for you to get to this one. So, yeah, Untitled Goose Game. What is this, Don?
I don't know.
It doesn't even have a title. Like the title is a non-title. That's how obscure this game is. And yeah, I don't know. I know everyone is so hyped up for this game, because you're a goose and you just act like a jerk. That's what it looks like to me. What were your impressions, Don?
My only impressions is that you're a goose. You are mean. You're just scattering around and just being the best goose you can be. And I love this game to freaking death. I have no idea what to expect. I'm going in completely blank. It seems that you're doing sort of objectives and walking around for that game.
Yeah.
It definitely seems that way. But I want to be a goose, man. I just want to be a goose that badly. It might just almost be my most anticipated game of this entire year.
Yeah, it's one of those games that people have asked. They keep asking me about. When is this game coming out? Have you played this game? What is this game? It seems like there's so much buzz and hype, and everyone just wants to play it. Like, just give us Untitled Goose Game. Put a title on it. Who cares? Just give it to us.
Hey, this is would be if Goat Simulator was good.
Oh yeah, and I think Goat Simulator just came to Switch actually as well. So
yeah.
If I don't know if I haven't actually played it, but I don't know what to say about Goat Simulator, but Goat is no goose. We'll say that.
Yeah, because Goat Simulator, if you don't know, it's basically, I don't know, based around the physics, and this seems basically just being a goose in a very deliberate designed world, doing little objectives and walking around, and you're just being a freaking goose.
It seems really easy to play. Like, this isn't going to be one where you're maybe solving complex puzzles or doing any platforming or anything. You're really just walking around, picking stuff up, doing whatever you want. We're watching some video here. The goose is just walking around the garden, disconnecting things, picking up objects, moving them away from the gardener or the farmer. Just overall overall just being a nuisance, being a pain. And it's fun to do that. It's fun to annoy other characters in games. We always do that, even when it's not the main objective. Pikuniku is a game I recently reviewed, and you can walk around Pikuniku just kicking other characters, and they tell you, stop kicking me, or that hurts. And you're not solving any objectives by kicking people. You're just being a jerk. But it's fun to do that sometimes. And
yeah, I'm just looking at the
this
footage.
game is
Yeah.
it's built around that, right? It's built around causing trouble.
Sorry, I had to interrupt you because I'm looking at
Yeah.
the footage right now, and
Yeah.
one of the objectives is basically just make the gardener wet.
Yeah. Turn on the hose when he's there. Yeah, it's great. It just seems so whimsical. And see, you've got this kind of to-do list of things you're gonna goals to accomplish, I guess. But I imagine that how you go about it is maybe up to you. We don't know. We don't know everything about this game. So yeah, I don't know what else to say.
That game makes me intensely happy.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's coming out. I have no idea. I don't have any recollection of knowing a date, but
Yeah.
I just want this ASAP in my life because it just looks adorable.
Yeah, I hope we hear more soon, or I hope it comes out soon. I know everyone's going to be playing this and talking about it. And 2019 is, I think it's the year of the pig, but it might end up being the year of the goose.
It is already the year of the goose. Look at that gameplay; it's fantastic.
Yeah, you take one look, and there it goes.
So, do you have another game that you really want to talk about?
I do, yeah. I've got another game that I played at PAX last year, and that's Super Meat Boy Forever.
Just going on that platform.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter if it's endless or regular, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly. Super Meat Boy Forever is. I played the base game a little bit. I think I played it on Vita of all places, and I enjoyed it. I think it was fun. I wish I had played it closer to launch. But nowadays, 2018, 2019, I've been playing a lot more puzzle platformers and kind of action platformer games like this. And so, I've got kind of grown an affinity, a fondness for those games. Super Meat Boy Forever is different from its predecessor in that, it's an auto runner. It still has boss stages, but you are constantly moving forward. One of the cool mechanics is that when you launch into the air, you can jump as well, of course. When you launch into the air, you can punch enemies to dash forward. So to keep your momentum, to keep you going forward in midair, you're punching enemies. So they're kind of set up in such a way that you want to time it and time your punches so that you can kind of clear gaps and avoid spikes. It's got a fun cartoon aesthetic. I think it's a little bit more cartoon looking than the original Super Meat Boy. And man, I feel like that's a game that it's been a long time since we played the original, and now we're getting kind of a pseudo sequel to it. There's lots of jumping, lots of changing of directions. It's a hard game. Like let's not kid ourselves here. The Meat Boy franchise is known for being pretty difficult, and Super Meat Boy Forever is not an exception to that. Have you seen or played this game, Don?
Yes, I played it during a Xbox event during E3.
Okay.
It's really fun. Like the auto runner stuff really gave me a little bit of pause because I'm very familiar with the original Super Meat Boy, and I love it to death. I played it almost at every single platform it comes out.
Yeah.
But having an auto runner, I'm good at the auto runners, and I really, really like them. But a good auto runner is difficult. You have to make them fun, and not every game manages that because it's a very risque sort of genre.
It is, yeah.
What I think is interesting about Super Meat Boy Forever in general is how it moves, because basically it is an auto runner, but you dash towards walls. You have punching enemies. You dash forward. You have your boss stages, and it's a lot of fun. Even in the jumping, you still can change your direction a little bit, so it's not completely auto runner.
Yeah, that's right. It does something new with it. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. Like I've kind of shied away from or moved away from auto runners. Super Mario Run, for example, is one I never kind of caught on with because I don't normally love that kind of style. But this one I think really works for the franchise. It really works with how difficult the stages are, and it's got this great sense of momentum, of feel. Like you're running through the stages, but I don't know how to explain it. The way you're getting around objects, and there's a lot of actions that you're doing. You're not, like you said, you're not just running. You're jumping, you're punching, you're dashing, you're changing directions constantly. There's so many things that are happening that it feels like the auto running is very natural to it. It really just is as if you're moving the character yourself.
For sure. Before we move on to the last couple of titles, once again, the update is that we're still at 4,135. Once again, if you want me to play Mario Party 5, this is your golden opportunity because I will play 50 turns of it.
Get those donations in. You're ever gonna see another 50-turn Mario Party 5 game again, I don't think.
I will never play Mario Party 5 after this. Never again. Ever. And also, once again, the password is Glorious Hero. That is Glorious Hero. Fill it in on the website, and you can earn yourself a little prize. All right, moving on from here.
Yeah, what do you got, Don? What's next?
Dead End Job, which is a game made by a previous Rockstar Games producer. He sort of branched out and did his own thing. This game sees you... So basically, it's an overhead, like cartoony art style, where you basically just move a bit like Binding of Isaac style. But the big difference is you're going from room to room, and you're trapping ghosts with very deliberate sort of traps. Okay. And you move the vacuum where you suck them in. You just move around with the left stick, and with the right stick, you are moving around you to suck up the ghosts. And this takes a little while to get used to because it's very different in how it is designed. But it's for how well and how very delicate that ghost genre is. I think they're doing some very interesting stuff with it, like introducing high score elements, procedurally generated levels, and the enemies that you meet every single time you go back into a level are very different. So you are constantly met with brand new challenges, and you go for the story mode to earn yourself money, to build a ghost trapping empire and get better equipment throughout the game. I got to play this for about 2 hours in an event very recently. I got to talk to the guy and see what they were feeling. And you can play this alone. You can play this with a buddy. And basically, it has separate high scores for both. Campaign progression carries over to the both, and if you just want to play in arcade mode, you have that too. So it's a very much a complete package, and they're building it now to somewhat completion. They hopefully have it done in the very near future.
Okay, that's good. The ghost busting, that you think of something like Luigi's Mansion or Ghostbusters, but it's got this high score mechanic, which is cool. It reminds me, the twin stick element reminds me a little bit of Binding of Isaac too. Did you kind of feel that, Don, when you were playing? Did you kind of think, or did it remind you of a little bit Binding of Isaac when you were playing this game?
A little bit, because of the overhead style. It definitely reminded me of how that game was and how that game desperately feels. But of course, you don't have the way that the twin stick is designed is that you can have free movement over the vacuum while you're still moving.
Okay. Yeah, I think I played, not much, maybe 10 minutes or so at PAX. It was a quick demo. It seems fun. I like the fact that you're chasing high scores. It has this neat kind of cartoon style. It reminds me of Nickelodeon for our American friends out there. I don't know enough about the story. We're seeing some cutscenes here, but I imagine there's kind of a story mode or a progression.
Yeah, you're going from different houses to perform certain tasks. What I enjoyed the most about it is just the feel of it. It just feels really nice. Like the levels flew by like almost in a whim. Okay. Some of them were more deliberate, and you got better gear out of it too. Like at the end, I got really pretty much one that basically shoots like a shotgun. Okay. So you basically had to take on harder ghosts, which you basically have to shoot down everywhere and then suck them up, which became very much of a challenge later on in that demo that I played. But overall, it was just really, really impressive.
Yeah, it's one of those nice things about games that have procedurally generated elements is that you can keep going back to them, right? They don't really end. You can always go back in and have a different experience. So especially one where you're setting high scores, and every time you go back in, it's different stages, different layouts. Probably a game that people would want to come back to.
So we're getting very close to the end of our list. So
We
I
are.
think this is your last game, right?
It is, yeah. I think it's going to end up being the last one. Things have kind of, we've kind of flown by here. The last game I want to talk about is Ape Out, uh, which is a hilarious title. The trailer, the video, the footage we've seen is also hilarious. It looks like you are an ape that escapes, not Ape Escape though, and you are going on a rampage. You're killing scientists, hunters, people who have imprisoned you, or people who seem to be resisting your escape, trying to stop you, maybe put you back in your cage. It obviously reminds a lot of Hotline Miami. It's got that same kind of top-down perspective with lots of killing, lots of blood. It does seem to be more stylized though. There's a lot of your ape is just kind of, there's no detail to you. You're just a colored figure, a 2D colored figure, and you're walking around these labyrinth or maze-like stages, and you're smashing people into walls. You're throwing them out of windows. You can pick up your enemies and use them as human shields. It just seems like a wild game, and I. I haven't played it yet, but I'm really excited. It's coming really soon, actually. I think it's I believe the release date is February 7th. You'll be able to pick it up. So, yeah, this is definitely one I'm going to be picking up day one, and I'm excited about it. Don, what about you?
You can only see the webcam right now because we're looking at the footage, but I
Yeah.
have just a confused look at my face what I'm currently looking at.
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah,
I just love the
it's
amount. I
very
love the amount of
much
color. It's using black and white and lights and
yeah.
things like that.
So basically, you're being an ape and destroy everything that moves.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this is Donkey Kong on a really bad day when all the bananas are gone and he just wants to. It's like Donkey Kong combined with the Rampage arcade games or something like that. Yeah, but no, you definitely get that. Another Devolver title. Obviously, we've got a lot of fondness for them. They've been really hitting it out of the park lately with the games they're publishing. And
Grace and Pico Nico definitely last couple of weeks were fantastic.
yeah, awesome. And this is another. I think this is another game that is developed or programmed by just one individual. And kudos to him. The game looks like a ton of fun. We all can't wait to play it. So fortunately, we don't have to wait too long for this one. Yeah, just watching the video, it's so violent. There's blood splattering all over the place. It's hilarious.
Is this game level based or?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. From what I remember of the footage I saw, not necessarily just this announcement footage, but you're climbing up or down a tower. So maybe
Okay.
imagine you're at the top of a tower and you're looking for the stairs in each level so that you can go down to the next stage. I think there might be some other levels as well, like he's crossing between two buildings that look like one where you're on a cruise ship or something like that. So I don't know if it's just a single tower or that's one stage, but it looks like you are progressing through levels, maybe trying to escape these different settings.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can't wait for this game. It looks like brutal, violent game, but a ton of fun just to throw people around.
And then the last game we had on our list is Forager. I think that's how it's pronounced, Forager.
Forager, I think.
Forager.
Yeah.
That is a 2D open world game where you basically, it has some life sim elements where you plant some stuff into the ground, but also very much puzzle solving RPG mechanics. It is pixel art, but very bright and colorful pixel art with some really interesting combat mechanics. And it seems, like I said with some other overhead games, it seems very fluid.
One of the things that struck me, there's a scene where you're in a mine and you're kind of solving puzzles in the mine as you progress from one part of the cave, one cave to another. It also has those Stardew elements too. Like you said, life sim. You're doing some farming. You're collecting resources, building things. But there's a combat element to it as well. So it's kind of a 2D. But more open world than Stardew is, right? Stardew has a set map. This one's one of the things that struck me about Forager is that you seem to kind of build the world. Like you place tiles down on the map that expand the world, and maybe those have different treasures or different things you can do on those tiles. So that seemed really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has some on Switch. It has some touch screen functionality where you can basically basically pick up objects that you collect throughout the level or by defeating enemies.
Mm.
You have your life sim elements. You can
Yep.
build everything, and then you have stronger gear that you get later in the game, like bombs, where you can basically just blow up entire environments that you don't need.
Mm.
And from there, you just build new islands and build your world from there. So it seems like
Yeah.
a lot of world building, a lot of sim elements, but
Yeah.
definitely more on the actiony side of things for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of combat, a lot of different enemies that you're fighting. There's some big boss battles. Seems really fun. Yeah, this game seems to have a lot of freedom. It's feel like you can kind of play it maybe the way you want to. I don't know. I haven't gone hands on with this yet. It looks like another game that's probably coming soon, though. Hopefully, maybe within a couple months.
Hmm.
Don, you haven't played this game yet, have you?
No, I have
No,
not.
okay, okay. Yeah, so just a game that we saw, looks really colorful, cute. Some of the buildings have like faces on them, or you can talk to the plants. We're seeing that in the stream right now. I'm curious if there's kind of a story, or if you are really just kind of free form doing whatever you like. I'd want to know if there's some kind of overarching narrative here.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll find out about that soon.
Yeah, but it's another company that returns a lot. Humble Bundle seems to
Hmm.
signing a lot of good games too.
Yeah, for sure.
So Humble Bundle and Devolver Digital very heavily present in our talk here.
Yeah, definitely. Lately, they've been, big fans of the Switch. Obviously, bringing all their games to Switch, sometimes exclusively, or at least coming to Switch first. And their games, the ones that they're producing, publishing, seem to be perfect for the console. So I'm not
Yeah,
surprised. I'm not surprised we're talking about them a lot. And I bet you in 2019 we're going to be seeing even more and talking more about them.
for sure. So you can find us more if you want to hear more of what we're doing. We have restarted a podcast I was here on last year, the eShop Action Committee. You can find it there on Twitter, which is at eShop Action. We try to post a game to promote every single day. And in addition to that, we have our podcast now. You can find the interview of Brian over there. You can find a roundup episode of 2018. And next week, we're also recording our first roundup for January. So that will be very exciting.
Yeah, we already got a lot of good games that came out this month.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a good one too.
So I'm very much looking forward to what we have in store. Obviously, the segment will also go up, so then we'll know. I will likely put an addendum if we made a goal, but we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will be back later for Pokemon XD and Coliseum discussion. Are you back for anything today?
I'm not on any more segments. Maybe I'll call into something. I don't even know if there is a call-in portion later on, but I will hop in the chat. You'll find me in the YouTube chat. If you want to hit me up on Twitter at Riskman64, happy to talk about games or any of the things that we talked about during the segment here. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the segment and looking forward to the rest of the telethon.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.